update on Steph?
Yeah, Steph is not going to play tomorrow. He wants to play. He's ready to play, and we're just going to be extra cautious. And Rick felt very strongly, based on his years of experience doing this stuff, that it makes sense to be extra careful, and he's going to wait. He will play in Detroit.
You mentioned how much he wants to play. I mean, how much he's pushing.
Oh, he was dying. He's dying to play. He loves playing in Toronto. He's got great memories of being here. And when Dell was playing with the Raptors, he's dying to play. But we rely heavily on Rick. Rick is really good at his job. He knows what he's talking about, and he thinks it makes a lot of sense to wait, to give him 2 more days to be extra cautious, and that's what we're going to do.
What impressions do you have of Steph's work today?
We didn't do a whole lot. It was a pretty light practice, but he's looked great the last several days, scrimmaging, shooting the ball, his movement. To me, he looks like he's ready to go, and that's the great news. If this were a playoff game, he would absolutely be playing. But it's November. It's so early that the thing Rick and I talked about was we're never going to look back and go, man, I wish we had played him in Toronto. But the opposite would definitely be true. We could look back and say, what were we thinking? Why didn't we give him another couple days? So caution is the word of the day.
Is it target for Detroit, or is that just too early to say? Is it targeting for the Detroit?
He will play in Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you discovered working with Rick? What have you discovered about working with Rick and how he?
Rick's awesome. He's very practical. He knows his stuff. He's very matter of fact. Doesn't have room for sentimentality. He's most concerned about our athletes and their conditioning and their well-being, and he does a phenomenal job. I think it's the earliest would be later on in this trip. He's not playing in these first couple of games of the trip. He still needs to get on the floor. I think he'll start doing that on Friday, where he can start to ramp up the court work, and then he'll need a few days from there, and then at that point it'll be sort of day to day, and we'll leave it up to Rick.
And Alfonso,
he's not ready either. He did not practice today.
You guys had the last road win in Chicago, was when they had his 14. So that was back in October.
And that was what? That was the last.
That was the last road win.
Is that right?
Yes. What do you feel about reestablishing yourselves, getting some guys back from injury?
Yeah, well, I think it's a good time to be on the road. We've got a little momentum. I think we've kind of moved out of the storm, and we're feeling good about ourselves again. And to go on the road for 5 games, be together, to bond, to get some practice time, since the games are every other day and we don't have any back-to-backs. I think this will be a good trip for us.
Steve, Clay was very complimentary of the Raptors the other day. What are your impressions of how they've been playing to start the season, and maybe some of the changes they've made over the last several months?
Well, they've been a great team for years. They look a little different this year, just with Kawhi and starting Ibaka some games instead of Valanciunas. The emergence of Siakam and their young players. So they're fast, they're versatile, they're playing better than anybody in the league right now, and they're a huge threat to come out of the East. So I'm impressed.